Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians, Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, joins us now. Jacinta, great to see you. Congratulations, you've thrown your hat into the ring for the deputy leadership of the Liberal Party. Tell us why, tell us what you think Australia needs that only you can provide.
Well, good morning, Rowan, and good morning to all the Sky viewers today. Yes, I have made the decision, and the decision wasn't taken lightly, of course. I did it with a lot of consultation, particularly with my family. My family are so important to me. My husband, Colin, my sons, they are who are important to me, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing this with fully knowing that we were going into this as a family, because that is, to me, a fundamental value that we need to get back to, certainly in this country, and we need to be able to support families. Now, obviously, we've had such a heartbreaking loss, and from that, you know, you were right in saying that we ran an election driven by fear. And that should never have been the case, because the Australian people could see that. Some of us had some wonderful policies, but we were stifled from being able to give that message, tell Australians what it was we were providing, what we had on offer, and do it with conviction. That was a lost opportunity. Now, after the result of the referendum, it was evident what we needed to do. Instead of looking at the polls and thinking, look, we're not going to win this, we had to get in there and actually change the narrative, lead the narrative in the argument, and also hang around the neck of the Prime Minister, his failings, pin his lies to him. That is what we needed to do. And so, you know, I'm very passionate about our country and the direction in which it is going, because I've seen how socialism has destroyed the lives of those that I love in remote communities. And with the Labor government now in power for 3 more years, it is the most marginalised who miss out the most, you know, let alone everyday Australians in all of this. And so I guess the fighter in me feels, you know, I'm obliged to step up. You know, I've had a blessed life, although I've overcome much, you know, disadvantage in my life. As a single mother who raised 3 kids, as a teenage mother, you know, who's had, you know, I've got 4 beautiful sons now. I've understood what it meant to struggle, but to also understand my own capabilities, if you like. I have been a small business owner and operator, and the most rewarding thing for me in positions like that was providing an opportunity for young people to be employed, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous, and watching them realise their own capability. That to me has always been the most rewarding element of what it is that whatever it is I've been involved in over the years, including, you know, establishing a women's music program for Indigenous women here in Central Australia that's grown right across the territory to enable Indigenous girls and women to buck the trend of being told you don't belong in a music room, but to establish their own music careers, to establishing and growing the women's football league here in Alice Springs, and watching young women realise their potential out on the footy field. Ultimately, this is what I'm driven by, and if we're going to be successful going forward, we need to allow Australians to realise their own potential, and that is to create that environment through good common sense policy for all Australians. You know, I'm a mother of 4 sons, so it's not just young women that I want to support. I want our young men to realise that they are valued and they are important just as well. And so this is what drives me ultimately. And given, you know, what I've faced in my life and what I've had to overcome, certainly within my broader family as well, this beautiful country has given me those opportunities, and it is why I stand where I stand now.
Now, Jacinta, the Liberal Party do have an identity crisis right now. How are you going to be part of that solution? And we're having a lot of folks, a lot of, some would call them grifters, suggesting that what the Liberals need is a quota system. They need to have gender quotas like Labor do. Are you an advocate for that?
I'm certainly not an advocate for gender quotas. I never have been. I'm all for meritocracy. I think that is the way we have to move forward. I mean, if you look to Labor, you know, they stand up and they spruik that they support women. When have they or will they ever see put an Indigenous woman in a position where she has the opportunity to go for deputy leader of their party? It's not going to happen for a very long time. You know, this is about meritocracy. This is about achievement. This is about bringing hope to the Australian people and the Liberal Party that we can absolutely rebuild if we remember where we've come from and use those values to create policy and to move forward. You know, it is because of Liberal values, you know, freedom of the individual, but responsibility. That is the ultimate formula to realise one's capacity to achieve and be successful in life, and no matter what form that looks like. Entrepreneurialism is something that I have been pushing, particularly for our most marginalised, because they are living under socialist rule in remote communities, dependent on welfare. We, as Liberals, can provide an environment and change the circumstances so that they can become entrepreneurial in their own right, like other Australians have the opportunity to do. We need to believe in those values again, and have the courage to go out there and fight in that way.
James.
Senator, I'm listening to you articulate these Liberal values in a way that I think is in some ways clearer and more precise than many in the Liberal Party managed to do during this past campaign, which brings me to the question then, you know, why did you decide to make this move across the hall from the Nationals to the Liberal Party, given that the Liberals have been in this, you know, identity crisis, which some have even suggested is existential? And how long had you been considering making this shift?
Look, this is actually something that I wanted to do when I was first elected, but there were some that were preventing me from doing so and put a block in my way of being able to make that choice. And being new to the game, I thought, well, you know, I don't want to rock the boat. I will follow tradition and do as tradition tells as part of the Country Liberal Party to sit in the Nationals party room. And don't get me wrong, I loved being a National. We share the same values. I don't see that we don't share the same values. I have been very grateful for the opportunities that the National Party under David Littleproud's leadership have provided me. But I felt in this situation, we're faced with a crisis, and me feeling like I've been a Liberal. I wanted to make that step, and look, that step wasn't, you know, like that. There's been suggestions that I was being courted 5 days before the election. That's nonsense. There was no such courting going on. In fact, this decision, my wonderful husband reminded me, you know, a few days after the election, remember how you wanted to do this? Why don't you consider it this time? And I went, you know, you're absolutely right, because, and I think I've said it before, I tend to be one to, I guess, run toward danger, if you like, or help out where I can. Ultimately, I want to be effective. I want to help. I want to support. I want to rebuild, because ultimately I've got more to lose in that it's my marginalised family members living under socialist rule that will continue to suffer under bloated bureaucracies that Labor, all they do is set up bureaucracies. They don't listen to the little people on the ground, but we, as part of our Liberal values, do. It's the forgotten people we're interested in, not heads of bloated bureaucracies where Labor funnels money and effectively buys their votes. That's not what I'm interested in, but this is the fight that we're up against. And given I've been experiencing this all my life, the opportunity is there. If I don't take it, it might not come. It's one of those things, sometimes in life, you have to take those risks in order for the greater good.
And Jacinta, I think people, your critics would go, oh, she's just a one-trick pony, she did The Voice and so on. But for me, the critical thing about The Voice, obviously I agreed with the outcome, but the critical thing was how you took a position where you were everybody told you were going to lose. The focus groups, the opinion polls, everybody apart from the Spectator Australia and outsiders, of course, told you were going to lose. But you decided you're going to fight this. You put everything on the line. You put your reputation, your career, everything on the line to fight that. You had the help of Warren Mundine, but basically it was the two of you who really won that thing and won the hearts and minds of Australians. So tell us how you would, and to me, that marks you out as a warrior. And as a warrior, that is what we did not see in the election campaign. The most common criticism of the Liberal Party, of the coalition election campaign, is where's the fight? Where's the fight to Labor? You've spoken about taking the fight to Labor. How would you do that from day one, from Tuesday onwards? How would you take the fight to Labor?
Absolutely. In my view, the campaign starts right now. It started yesterday because we're already hearing from Labor that, the soon-to-be reappointed Treasurer, that it's going to take, apparently it's going to take yet another term, a third term, in order to get productivity where it needs to be. He's already stating that they're going to fail the Australian people. We can't let them get away at any point with their broken promises and their lies to the Australian people. We've got to highlight the fact that all they rely on is mudslinging. And when that's all you've got, when all you have got is to berate someone, to call them names, to attack their character, it's because you have nothing to offer. It is our job as the Liberal Party, as part of the broader coalition, to execute that argument effectively and get that clear messaging across to the Australian people. And look, can I also say that I absolutely endorse Angus Taylor. He is a pragmatic, deep-thinking individual who I would absolutely be privileged to serve beside going forward for the benefit of the Liberal Party and the coalition. I'm a coalitionist all the way. I'm absolutely for that, for being part of the team that wants to, revive our nation, take back Australia from the clutches of Labor that we know are going to continue to destroy the joint.
Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, good luck on Tuesday. The nation will be watching. Thanks so much for coming on Outsiders. And I'll remind viewers, you were on Outsiders many, many years ago, and it's always great to have you here. That's Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price. We shall see what happens on Tuesday. What a wonderful woman and a great mum there on Mother's Day.